You have News 5 tonight. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong says he is considering seriously whether to have a by-election in the single-member ward of Punggol East. He announced this to local media at the end of his visit to New Delhi for the ASEAN-India Commemorative Summit.
Singapore's former Speaker of Parliament and MP Michael Palmer resigned from all his posts earlier this month after he revealed to Singaporeans that he had an extramarital affair with a former staff member of the People's Association who was working in the Pasir Ris-Punggol constituency office. Prime Minister Lee said today he was very surprised and saddened by what had happened, and once it was understood what had happened, Mr. Palmer had to resign. As a result of this, the single-member seat of Punggol East has fallen vacant, and Minister of State and MP for Pasir Ris-Punggol GRC Teo Ser Luck is now looking after the ward. On reports that 4 opposition parties have expressed interest to contest a by-election there, Mr. Lee said,
So I said, well, I haven't decided when to hold the election or whether to hold the election, but and if so, when. If I decide to hold, then it's within the right of any candidate from any of the opposition parties to come, and then it is up to the voters to decide whom they want to support. From the PAP's point of view, of course, we will feel the best possible candidate and work our utmost to win and retain the voters' support in Punggol East. As to what sort of candidate we feel, we will find the best possible person. But we are serious in our requirements, and it is not easy to produce a rabbit out of the hat.
On calls for a legal timeline for a by-election, Mr. Lee explained that he has expressed his view on the matter in Parliament a few years ago. He explained again why it is right that Singapore does not have a time limit for a by-election or an absolute requirement that a by-election be held.
There's a reason for it, because you're electing a team to represent you when you're going to elect a general election, and you're not just electing an individual in that constituency, but really you're electing a member of a government, and a person stands wearing a logo representing a political party. And really the right way to choose the government is in a general election when the choice is put, and that choice is really for the term of the government. Unless there's a complete change in Parliament. Otherwise, individual MPs, whether they resign or something happens to them, ought not to be able to upset the overall political situation. And that's the reason why it's designed like this. Of course, in a practical situation, if you do have a vacancy, if there's no special reason one way or the other, then there will be expectations that, well, you ought to have a by-election and ought to fill the seat. And that's something which I will consider.
Asked if he had decided on the next candidate for the post of Speaker of Parliament, Prime Minister Lee says the House will have the name of the candidate in time for the next sitting of Parliament on the 14th of next month. Mr. Lee says the Speaker of Parliament is elected by the House. So Mr. Lee says it is right that when the candidate is decided upon, PAP MPs would be informed first, and thereafter the person would be made known. As Ramesh Channel News Asia, New Delhi.